Hello everyone, my name is Hugo and this is Hugo's Desk. I have a really special episode for you guys today. I've been playing around with the PlayStation VR from Sony for about 2 weeks now, and I have quite a lot of thoughts about it and I wanted to do a full review. Now, before we do that, I have a full disclosure. This unit was bought by myself. It was not given to me by Sony. I actually pre-ordered it, so this is a completely independent review of the PlayStation VR. And for years, I've been trying it on many shows. We tried it on Gamescom, I tried it on EGX, and how does it stack up against the competition, really, especially against the Vive and the Oculus Rift, which I've tried as well? I mean, is it really all this promise of revolutionizing VR and revolutionizing gaming that Sony has been promising for years now? I mean, in a way, it is, but it's also not. Let's get going with the review.
Well, in one way, very impressive VR headset, but we all been there, Sony has promised before and pledged so many other products in the past to just so quickly abandon support and sometimes even quietly make them vanish from the market. Just think about the Vita, 3D TVs, Sony Betamax, Sony's Memory Stick, Sony's Robot Dog, the PlayStation Portable Go, mini discs.
And the list goes on and on and on. There's quite a lot of products that I haven't even mentioned. I'm trying to be as optimistic as I can, but I think track record of Sony has a lot to be desired. And so I think they have a lot to prove, especially on supporting this kind of technology.
Although I have to say that a company that takes risks and moves the market forward is always a company that will always try to innovate. And I have to give the credit to Sony for all their efforts.
But let's talk about it step by step.
So the installation, very easy to follow instructions, really amazing package. I mean, the graphic design on this package and the simplicity is really amazing. But, on the other hand, be ready to have your living room turned into a spaghetti of cables. There are so many cables. By the way, I just love the cable numbering system. What a great idea. I hoped that someday other companies would use this, because just having numbers for the cables is a really great idea. PlayStation VR is also the easiest headset to put on your head. I mean, the elastic straps and buttons to bring the screen forward and backwards is a great function, especially to adjust focus and the tightness of the headset around your head. Also, not in a box, I really recommend you to get 2 PlayStation Moves. You can find them quite cheap on Amazon now. Without the PlayStation Move, the experience is really going to be very limited. Well, we're going to talk a bit more about that later.
It's by far the most comfortable of all the headsets I've tried. It's also the easiest one to put on your head and adjust, even if you wear glasses. That's really important for me and for a lot of people. Also, it only took about 5 minutes to install. There's no drivers, there's no hassle, there's no CD. It just literally plugs and play on the PlayStation 4 as long as you've installed the latest operating system on the PlayStation 4. It's exactly what VR needs, something easy to use and plug and play. I must add as well that this is the only headset that doesn't really leave any marks on my face, the typical ski marks that you get from the Oculus. It's very comfortable. I've managed to play 6 hours in a row already. This really doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's something that I would expect from a manufacturer like Sony.
So what about the specs? What is under the hood, so to speak? Well, according to IFIXT, please visit our website for the most comprehensive teardown of this VR headset that you can find on the internet. In general terms, we have a single 5.7-inch AMOLED display with Full HD 1920 by 1080. Of course, this means it's only 9060 by 1080 per eye. Approximately, you have 100 degrees of field of view. So again, against the competition, a much smaller field of view than the Oculus or the Vive. Refresh rate, though, is very advanced. It's 120 Hz, and you can really feel that on the gameplay. Of course, it has its typical 6-axis measurable system with gyroscope and accelerometer, so it really behaves almost like an iPhone. And incredibly, it weighs only 610 grams. That's really light. Regarding the screens, the PlayStation VR uses AMOLED technology, and although it's relatively low resolution, since you don't even have Full HD for each eye, it's very impressive technology since you can't really see any of the typical artifacts like pixels that you usually see on a regular screen, especially because they're so close to your head.
And what about the PlayStation Move and the tracking ability? I mean, this is by far the weakest thing of the PlayStation VR experience. This is so inconsistent, and it's no surprise. I mean, this is 6-year-old technology. It does its job, it works. You can kind of track things and it kind of works, but it's so easy to just not have an accurate track, especially if you're playing Batman, especially if you're playing Job Simulator. it's like just light years away from the accuracy of the HTC Vive. Of course, the HTC Vive has another issue. The HTC Vive has good tracking, but it requires you to have a mansion because you literally have to have a room specifically for VR. So what about the games? It's all about the games, folks. So what are the best games out there for the PlayStation VR? Now, keep in mind, this is only my opinion. It's my humble opinion, and these are the games that worked for me and that actually worked for my taste.
Playing virtual reality feels like nothing else really. And this is not just to say about the Sony VR headset, any VR headset really. And I'm not gonna say that it replaces traditional gaming, because it's not gonna replace traditional gaming. I think it's going to be an extension for it. But for the moment, it feels really like a breath of fresh air to the games industry. Interestingly enough, the most fascinating experiences on VR at the moment are the ones that are pure gameplay and pretty much arcade experiences. It really brings you back to the times of Pong, of Daytona, Sega Rally, Tetris, pure gameplay, pure simplicity. And you can see that on games like Hypercube and Thumper and Gunjack or even Danger Ball. They're really very addicting, although they're very short experiences.
I'm not going to talk about all the games that I've actually played on the PlayStation VR, otherwise this would be a very long video, but these are the ones that I really enjoyed. Let's take a look.
For me, Thumper. I need to say you need to try this game to really understand it. The images really do not give it justice. In a way, Thumper is a darker version than Rez. Gone are the tech beats and the colorful graphics that are now replaced by a dark palette, resembling more a survival horror game than anything else. Thumper, on essence, is a rhythm survival horror. It's like the Resident Evil of rhythm games. It's scary and exhilarating, simple gameplay, and has its strong roots on great arcade gameplay. In a normal screen, it's a great rhythm game. On a VR headset, it's an achievement. I personally would give this game an 8. You have to try it. Until Dawn: Rush of Blood. It's no secret that I'm a huge fan of Until Dawn. The fact of the matter is that it's not an Until Dawn sequel. It is simply a rail shooter on VR. Supermassive again knows how to use the great references of the 80s and 90s horror films from Wes Craven and John Carpenter. It has hordes of inspiration and very clever set pieces. It's short, but you know, that's happening with all the VR games at the moment, but it's a great experience. I would really recommend you, if you really love Virtual Cop or Lethal Enforcers or Splatterhouse or even House of the Dead, Supermassive just does not take itself too seriously, and it's great. And the final chapter, Jesus, it's really impressive. I don't want to spoil anything, but it's really impressive. The game is cheesy, it's a rail shooter, it's really stupid sometimes, but it's a lot of fun. It's not for all tastes, but I personally love this game. I personally would give it a 7.5. Eve Valkyrie. There are a lot of reviews out there, so I'm not going to bother you with much more reviews than this. But in a few words, it's a very empty campaign, there's not much to do except the multiplayer, but the feeling of dogfighting inside a spaceship is as impressive as it sounds. There's just no other way to play this game but VR. There's a huge promise and great gameplay mechanics. I can't wait to see these mechanics being used on a real campaign. Aiming with your head is just so impressive and so immersive. I would probably give it, personally, a 6. Drive Club VR. This is by far my biggest disappointment. I really love Drive Club, and I still to this day still play that game. I've been playing Drive Club since it's been released for 2 years now. First of all, why the hell is your save in progress not carried to the VR version? I just can't understand this. Also, why are the graphics so much worse than the original? I know the PlayStation 4 can't handle Drive Club in 3D stereoscopic at 120 Hz, but there were so many weather effects and rain effects and snow and lighting effects. I mean, just look at this. Look at how the game used to look. I just rest my case. As much as I love this game, it's in an appalling state, and I just wish that they can improve this game when they release the PlayStation Pro. But at this stage, I can't really give it more than a 5%. Kitchen. This is the demo you need to try. It's basically a demo from Capcom for Resident Evil 7. They've already explained that this is actually not part of the game, so it's much more like a demo of things to come. It's very short, really, really short, but I think it's the most promising title of this list. The potential is there, and Capcom has a huge opportunity to make really what could be the Resident Evil 4 of VR. This could be the first big game, AAA game on VR. For me, this is the best of the lot, and I give it a 9 personally.
Come on.
VR Worlds. This is really not a game, it's more like a collection of tech demos. For me, the price is just way too high, and it demonstrates multiple great concepts and great gameplay mechanics, but to be honest, Sony should have put this disc included with the VR headset. Let's start with the London Heist. By far the strongest one, great performance, great motion capture, and quite nice gameplay. It's very short though. A lot of great details, like for example, you can use the microphone to blow the smoke or to drink drinks, you know. It's quite neat ideas. And it's a very polished game, great voice acting, and a quite interesting plot. It really showcases what could happen if we would have made an adventure game. Just imagine if they would pick up all these mechanics and do something like an Uncharted VR. It would be amazing, it would really be amazing. Ocean Descent. Now, Ocean Descent is a really fun tech demo, and it's pretty scary. I guess it's the tech demo that you want to show off the VR headset with, you know. If you have friends coming over, if you have your mother coming over, you can always scare her to death with this. But just imagine this. You are on a shark cage, and then you can assume what's going to happen next. VR Lodge. It's a fun concept, but there's not much of a game here. It's really the weakest of all of them. It's a great sense of speed the game has, and the gameplay mechanics are quite nice with steering with your head, but the game is just way too easy, and there's no sense of danger since you never die. What the hell? Like, even if you hit a car, just look at this. You're hitting a car, you're hitting a truck, and nothing happens. Danger Ball. Probably the most arcadey game of this collection. Again, not much of a game, but showcasing a really good mechanic using your head as a controller. It's one of those games that is very arcadey and really looks like Pong, to be honest. Which is really funny because you've spent almost £500 to actually play Pong in VR. All in all, VR Worlds is not much of a game. It's way too much money, and it's just not good enough. I can't really give it more than a 6.
So what's the verdict? Well, in terms of pros, it's very impressive, the screen, the quality of the screen. There's no apparent glare. There's also no apparent aberration, really. Very easy to install, very comfortable, even if you play for long hours. So there's a lot of advantages, and I think there's a lot of things that are really good. But what are the bad things of it? Well, first of all, I must say the PlayStation Move really sucks. I mean, the tracking is appalling. Second thing I must say is the games are just not there. There's no really meaty experiences, there's no campaigns, there's no real games for it. I would also say the camera is really inaccurate. A lot of times I had to reboot the system, I had to reboot the PlayStation 4. Also, I must say there's just an enormous amount of wires. I just hope that they can get rid of the wires very soon and make this thing wireless. There's also a huge lack of support to entertainment, not just games. You know, there's a huge potential with this thing. Where are the documentaries? Where are the VR films? Where are the VR animation? There's only 2 of them on the PlayStation Store. I mean, Sony's PlayStation VR is a very impressive piece of kit. It is very immersive, and it could really be a game changer. I'm not saying it's going to change gaming forever, it's not. But it could bring like a breath of fresh air into the games industry. My final verdict would be a 7 out of 10. Now, if you do have enough money to actually spend £400 normally and just buy this, then become an adopter and support this technology and try it out. But it's a bit early, you know. If you don't have a lot of money, I probably would consider for you to wait. Maybe you can try it with your friends, maybe you can try it on a shop or on a game trade show. It probably is a bit too early. I would probably think that it is almost like the iPhone 1. You know, it's the first version. I'm sure version 2 will be better, and version 3 even better. And if it has the correct support from the developers, from the publishers, and from the entertainment business, it could become one of the best VR headsets. I just hope that it doesn't become another PlayStation Vita or another mini disc. So thank you so much for watching this video. Of course, as always, please like my video, share the video around, and leave me a comment below if you agree or even if you don't agree with my video. Thank you so much. I see you guys next time. This was Hugo Guerra from Hugo's Desk. Bye bye.